Okay.
Yeah, it was just me.
Oh, okay.
Eric should be joining any second.
Okay.
How's your baby?
She's taking a nap.
How old is she now?
She's a little over 3 months now.
Oh my gosh, they grow so fast.
I know.
Grow
Still
fast.
precious.
Yeah. So I guess we should start with a prayer. Eric, do you want to do that?
Yeah, sure, I can do
Great.
that.
Okay.
Yep, cool. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this day and that we could be able to meet together as a group and review this week's readings, and that we could be able to review the case as well. And please help us to be able to gain a better understanding and be able to come up with some good thoughts and ideas and gain the most that we can out of this week's lesson. We are grateful for the gospel and the blessings that we can in our lives, and that we can be inspired to do what is right. And we ask for these things and we pray for this in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 So I don't know how you guys felt. I struggled a little bit this week with this. I mean, not with the write-up, but I guess maybe because I've been where she's been before. So I had a hard time with this one.
I had a hard time. I thought there's two problems. I don't know. Well, it seemed like the main problem was whether or not she should stay at the job that she got.
Right?
But I felt like that could be broken down to the problems within the job she has.
Yep.
To fix that to make it a job she wants to stay at, or whether she should just leave. So I thought it was a little confusing, but
Yeah, I felt kind of bad for her because I had a very similar situation like that a couple of years ago with one of my jobs. And what ended up being is that I had to leave because even though I would try to communicate to try to make things better, not everyone wants to change, their habits. And so I ended up just leaving. And so I think one of the suggestions that I had was, communicating to Follett, I think is her supervisor, about, the boundaries and her segregation of duties, because I felt like she was not doing just her work, but she was also helping out her other superiors too, and I really don't know if that was the right thing for her to do. What do you guys think?
go ahead. Were you going to say something, Betty?
No, I was just going to say go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I kind of felt, I think it's important to help out your coworkers and stuff. My opinion was that they're kind of abusing her, with what they were giving her, not necessarily because they're asking so much, but the things they were asking weren't really her job level, and I thought that was just kind of disrespectful that they were doing that. So I thought there was a problem with management personally, just the culture. But that's hard to change, like you said, Andrea. I don't know if that really can be changed per se, because that's something that takes a long time to develop.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Changing a culture takes at least to start and get a good start. It takes at least a year, and you have to take it in small chunks. I came at this. I really try not to internalize it too much, but Andrea, it sounds like kind of you had the same thing. And Eric, I promised not to turn this into a man bashing thing because it's not what it is.
My mother-in-law bashes men all the time, so.
Oh, that's horrible. No, that's horrible. My thing is this. So, I really looked at the points where if she stayed where she was at, even though it was going to be hard, she was going to end up learning a lot more and being able to grow her career. The struggle there then is, I'm looking at my case study because I really have to try and articulate this correctly. So her coworker, this Vaughn guy, and I guess I sort of felt this way. I used to hire MBAs right out of college, and it is a bit challenging because brand new MBA students do think they know everything. And they do have a lot to offer, but many times what happens is they come with less than a real world experience. They have a lot of textbook, and they've done some internships and those things, but I mean, in terms of real world knowledge and that they lack there. However, I think that, you know, they wouldn't have hired her, her boss, or anyone else on that team wouldn't have hired her if they didn't see something in her that she has some potential. There's some things that she could actually bring to the table. In addition to that, you know, if you recall, she said that she sat down with her boss at the performance review that she had to request, which is a bit frustrating because I don't think that that should happen that way, but where her boss told her that she doesn't contribute at meetings or give her feedback. She's pretty quiet during meetings, and she was able to reflect a little bit and see that that probably was true, that she, you know, that she needed to contribute a little bit more because the work that they gave her, that ROI case analysis that they gave her to do, even though, like you said, Eric, in a totally disrespectful way, they completely took advantage of her, didn't give her credit for doing any of it. On one side, if there has to be a good side to that, they used her work because it was good work and valuable to the company. So I ended up, I used the choice that I gave. I recommended that she should stay because even though she gets along with these other people, they don't have a lot of in-depth things to offer her and teach her and to be able to learn and grow. And granted, even if she stayed only 1 or 2 more years, she would learn and grow more in those 1 or 2 years and be able to, if that's what she wants, move her career forward in a way that's more meaningful and be more recognized on her resume. I think that the words that I used is, and someone gave me this advice when I was in this situation, that it's kind of what I said. They would have hired her if they didn't think she had something to bring, and she needs to take her place at the table and contribute like she has something to contribute, not like she's just a brand new MBA, I'm here only to learn. Yes, she has a lot to learn, but she brings a lot, and they need to hear what she has to say as well.
No, for sure. I definitely agreed. You know, I came to the same conclusion. She needed to stay at that job. You know, I think, you know, making the best of a situation really pushes you and expands, you know, stretches you out, makes you grow, like you were saying. I also thought, you know, like, I don't think she's doing all she can to improve the situation if she doesn't like how it is. Like in my opinion, you know, the lack of attention that she claims she's not getting, which I think is reasonable. She definitely needs to just, like, for lack of a better term, like, you know, grow a pair and, like, confront her boss about that, you know. Like, I honestly think that's, you know, that's not going to change unless, you know, you get outspoken about that, honestly. And, you know, that's kind of scary to do sometimes, I think, and that definitely has the potential to backfire on you. But if it does backfire on you, then it shows that your boss isn't willing to, like, listen to you and, you know, at least hear you out on things. I thought another reason that she should say is, or that she could, like, change herself, was, like, one of the problems I saw was she felt like she wasn't being utilized to her full potential. Like you were saying, Betty, I think that comes down to, you know, being more outspoken in meetings and contributing. I also thought that, let's see, yeah, I thought like, the personal valuation that she's supposed to get, I feel like that should be given towards, the whole company as well, not just her specifically, but that they should bring a third party in to analyze their business controls, like internal management, how that's working out, how the relationships are developing, and um, I thought, for her future opportunities, like growing in the company, I said there's a possibility she could get moved to a different branch in the company. Thought that was a good option if she was unhappy still within a few more months of trying to bust it out, I guess, or stick with it. I thought another good idea that she could bring up to her boss at least was, that she could kind of express her ideas more, like, and that would open up more opportunity for her to, take lead over her own projects instead of being given things she doesn't want to. She can make more opportunities for herself, just kind of going above and beyond, but not in like a snobby MBA like know-it-all type of way, like you're saying, which I think is a thin line to walk on. But that's something that you have to figure out how to do in the business world, real world experience, or else you're not going to be as successful as you want to be in your mind, at least. So that was what I thought, but I thought she should stick with it as well.
Mine was kind of similar to what you guys had suggested as well. I opted that she should at least try to make it work because, like you guys said, I didn't really think she put in her 100%. And especially when she started having run-ins, with some of the people in the office, I felt like that could have been handled better, so as to not affect the morale of the office. Then, but I guess just taking from personal experience, um, my situation was such that, I know that I tried everything that I could. And it, like you said, Betty, it really helped me to stretch and grow, like major growing pains that I never thought possible. And then when I left, I felt good about it. And so that's why I feel like she should try. She should, experience those growing pains, and only leave when it feels time to, or when she feels like she's learned enough where, she can take what she learned to the table to a different company. I felt like, that deep dive place was good since she's already familiar with working there. She's adapted to the work culture really easily. But I didn't feel like that was challenging enough for her. So I think for her working there wouldn't be just the amount of work that she needs to contribute. I think it's also the culture. I don't know if she'll be able to adjust to the culture that well. So that was why I suggested the way I did.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think you said something like early on, Andrea, that there should be, or maybe it was you, Eric, I don't remember, that there should be a better delineation of roles and responsibilities. So, maybe that, she doesn't, Rinaldi doesn't really, like we said, know everything, and how could she know everything? She's really been there a short time. But I don't think you're learning unless you're making mistakes. And so if she doesn't take it, at least try, and then Vaughn, her boss, says, okay, Vaughn, this is what you do, and Rinaldi, okay, this is what you do. And if she makes mistakes, she makes mistakes, so be it. But like you said, Andrea, she gets more experience, she gets pushed to grow and expand, and like you said, when she's ready to move on, she will have a stronger skill set and come out better for it.
No, for sure. And I thought, like, when you do go through all that, I always thought the pizza place will always be there as a recommendation for her. Like, she can always go back there if she wanted to, but this is like a one-time opportunity type of thing, right? And if she really did grow and gain a lot more experience from this place, then she'd be more beneficial to the other company, to the pizza company, if she went back there. Um, so I just kind of thought that she should stick with it no matter what. Um, I mean, I think it's always a good courtesy to stay for at least a year or two, before you move on. But that was just my thoughts on that. And I thought, like exactly like the case pointed out, the industry that this business is in, Pontiac or Potomac Waters,
Mm-hmm.
that seems like it's a lot more solid business. Like, it actually has some meat behind it, more than just like a window scheme of marketing, I guess. That's kind of how I saw it. The differentiation between the two businesses is one actually had product behind it, the other didn't, which I think that contributes to the work environment as well. Uh, the culture is probably more lax at the pizza place because they're not stressing out over, the product itself. They're not trying to perfect it. While Potomac Waters is really more focused on that. So they're a lot more stressed out about it, I guess, and that may contribute to the emotional conflicts that go on in the office.
Yeah, I agree. I think one other thing that I agree with that too is that she complained a little bit about having to do a lot of those administrative tasks like copying and editing the PowerPoints. Myself, before I came into my role a couple of years ago, and that's pretty much what I did. I was an executive assistant and then just kind of moved my way into the HR area. But I learned a lot more from those PowerPoint slides and from copying things because I would actually take the time to read what I was copying and read what I was editing. And then sometimes, even in those PowerPoints, I would make suggestions to my boss or the person that gave it to me and say, this doesn't make sense because on this such and such slide you said this, but it's kind of contradicting that. So obviously, she shouldn't be the only one to do it, and maybe like we kind of said earlier, roles and responsibilities. Maybe they need an assistant or something. But as long as she's not doing it all the time, I think that's a valuable way, especially when you're brand new, to learn things about the company.
No, that's a good point. It made me think when you were talking that, the company was kind of upfront with her and honest, in my opinion, because they said, we're in the middle of a product development. We're probably not going to be able to train you for a few weeks. This is probably what you're going to be doing. So, like, she should have kind of expected to be underused at that point just because of where they're at in the company. Also, I thought another good point was that when she kept going back to your manager asking for things to do, the manager kept saying, there's tons of material you could be studying within the company itself about the company and its products and its past, how they operate as a business. And it sounded like she did a little bit of that, but it honestly didn't sound like she did really enough of it. Like, especially when you're being used for like photocopies and stuff like that. If you want to like get out of that rut, I feel like there's a certain point of like, self-responsibility you gotta take, and doing the things that may not be fun or may not be above your or at your skill level, but things that are important to growing, getting more experience to be able to have the higher jobs in the company, in my opinion, or be able to have the trust at least for those jobs.
Yeah, I agree. It drove me crazy how many times she kept going to her. I'm like, why do you keep asking her for more things to do if it's just going to, for lack of a better term, it's just going to piss her off even more.
Yeah,
so stop asking, just read your stuff and, if you can't find something, then read it again or read something else or offer to help somebody else, but don't ask for things to do every minute.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I guess at the end of it, there's something that both sides can improve on.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that she, as an employee, needs to realize too that the only power that she can control is over herself, and it kind of makes or breaks if she's going to be able to withstand staying there or not.
Yeah.
It's a very good point.
Yep. Yep. So
So,
yeah, those were all the things that I had and came up with. Was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about tonight?
Um,
no,
just looking through my kids.
I actually have to go. I know I mentioned it in the email,
Yeah.
but I hope that's okay. I feel kind of bad.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
We've discussed the bulk of everything. The case, that was probably the main thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much more that I have any
Yeah.
thoughts on.
Okay. And then you guys all do next week, since I missed last week too. I'll go ahead and do next week.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
All righty.
All right.
All right, I'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you. No
Yeah.
problem. I'll see you guys next week then, okay?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
See
you,
you, Doctor.
everybody.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.